TheFreeThoughtProject.com. Illinois police just claimed if marijuana is legalized, they'll have to kill their police dogs. Police are now threatening the public, claiming they may have to euthanize drug dogs if marijuana becomes legal because they were trained to be antisocial. Chad Larner, the training director of the K-9 Training Academy in Macon County, Illinois, said in a recent interview that police departments throughout the state may have to euthanize drug dogs if marijuana is legalized. Larner said that it would be abusive to retrain the dogs and that it could even be impossible. He also said that the dogs are trained to not be social because that is what the job requires. According to the Pentagraph, because many K-9s are trained not to be social so their work won't be affected, Larner said a number of dogs would likely have to be euthanized. Other police in the state seem to have similar feelings on the subject. Assistant Police Chief Steve Petrilli of the Normal Police Department said that it would be impossible to retrain the dogs. At this point, they're trained on 5 different odors. Once they're programmed with that, you can't just deprogram them. I think the implications of that would be huge, Petrilli said. However, it is actually possible to retrain the K-9s, as many police departments in Washington have shown. Legalization activist Ann Lynn of Nermo thinks that the police are just making empty threats to scare the public. The idea that legalizing for adults to have an ounce on them will equal all these dogs being euthanized, that seems kind of ridiculous and hyperbolic, he said. Macon County Sheriff Howard Buffett complained that this would make the dogs useless to the department and would be a victory for drug dealers. The biggest thing for law enforcement is you're going to have to replace all of your dogs. So to me, it's a giant step forward for drug dealers, and it's a giant step backward for law enforcement and the residents of the community, Buffett said. In 2016, Buffett's personal foundation reportedly invested $2.2 million in training for K-9 units throughout 33 counties across Illinois. It is strange that one of the excuses that they have for not wanting to retrain the K-9s is that it would be abusive, but to train them to be vicious and keep them as attack dog slaves is extremely abusive in itself. There are likely millions of dog owners, trainers, and rescuers who would be willing to show these animals a loving home so they can grow to be social again. The use of dogs in police business is inhumane both for the animals and the suspects who they are often unleashed on. Our society shuns animal abusers and people who raise dogs specifically for fighting, and rightfully so. But how are police dogs any different than an attack dog that a street gang breeds to be as aggressive as possible, for the purpose of winning money in dog fights and intimidating rivals? In many cases, these animals are often treated as nothing more than disposable weapons by the police that are in charge of caring for them. In fact, it is sadly common for police officers to get accused of animal cruelty for abusing or neglecting their dogs. Just this week, the Free Thought Project reported that an officer was caught on video abusing his own search dog when the animal failed to signal for drugs at a traffic stop. It is also common for police to leave their dogs in hot cars for extended periods of time until they die. One police officer in Georgia killed 3 of his dogs, one by leaving it in a hot car, and 2 others by shooting them. Officer Daniel Peabody of the Cherokee County Marshal's Office buried the first 2 dogs in his yard and was eventually caught when he killed the third. When police dogs retire from official duty, they are supposed to return home and live with their handlers, but this is not always the case. In the state of Illinois where this controversy has happened, some officers reportedly dropped their dogs off at shelters after they were retired. If any other organization was caught treating animals like this on such a regular basis and were admittedly raising them to be aggressive, there would be massive public outrage and calls of animal abuse. But the police are allowed to be abusers, so situations like this are often overlooked or ignored.
We turn now to that shocking video that's landed a northwestern Indiana police officer in some hot water. We want to warn you that this video may be considered graphic by some. The video posted to the internet appears to show the Hammond police officer lifting his K-9 partner by its collar and hitting it with a leash. This happened on a busy street with other officers standing nearby. The mayor confirms the officer is now on administrative leave and the dog has been removed from his control.
No, get ready to get his ass help. You get stuck in car, bro. I don't know how. Bernice, get me out of here. Ow! Ow! My leg! Hey, don't you damage anything. This is my car. Look, you are not supposed to know it ain't no.
Fuck is you fucking holding that dog up? Look at him. Look at him. What the fuck is he doing? Look at him. He's whipping that fucking dog. Look at him.
Sorry, Dave. You just gonna have to
You see that shit?
Cause this repo here,
Look at his ass. He was just lifting that fucking dog by his fucking collar up in the fucking air and whipping his ass with the fucking thing. The leash. Ain't that some fucking shit? Wow.
More on the investigation into what happened back on June 15th. And Jack, this is going to be disturbing to a lot of people to see this.
You know, guys, it's disturbing and, to be quite honest, extremely shocking. This is the relationship most are used to seeing between a handler and his dog. But on the night of June 15th, the love and respect gave way to abuse. And a warning, the video you're about to see is very graphic. Now, the man seen here in the orange cap is Ramsey County K-9 handler Brett Berry. Surveillance cameras outside the Black Bear Casino in Carlton were rolling when Berry appears to pick up and slam his service dog to the ground. The dog, that neighbors tell Fox 9 is named Boone, then takes off running but gets stuck trying to get back here in the casino. Berry then approaches and appears to scold and repeatedly strike the dog in the doorway. It's a scene that investigators say they never thought possible.
I haven't seen a canine handler assault anybody, or no.
That is totally shocking, and I don't really believe it. I don't know what happened. I didn't see there, but that's really surprising.
Neighbors of Berry say he and Boone were inseparable, and the allegations of abuse just don't make any sense. The Ramsey County Sheriff's Office has put Deputy Berry on paid administrative leave while the investigation unfolds. In a statement, they said, quote, "We hold our staff to the highest standards, and the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office is troubled by these allegations," end quote. In the meantime, Berry's dog has been taken away. Now, the 18-year veteran is facing 2 misdemeanor charges.
Hey! He's kicking that dog. What the hell?
Trooper Jones' attorney says this case boils down to one thing: politics. He says once the tape was released to the media, it caused a public relations nightmare for the Highway Patrol, and Jones was fired without due process. Just a warning, some viewers may find the following video disturbing.
Yeah, video no.
Hold him down. There you go. Tail is. Look him in the eyes. Get on top of him. Do him again, Wayne. He's feeling that he's won. Get him up on his back. I don't like to do this.